You live for 1 billion years, what do you do?
Mr. Reddit.
I am assuming we have the age we currently are, and do not age further. Do I need food, air, and water? If I just exist, I will read books for the first century. I guess I have to prove who I am to get access to my money if I leave it in a bank. Can I die by accident? Thinking of a billion years stuck in a gold mine collapse. If I am unkillable immortal, then panning for gold and fighting bears for a century or two sounds like fun. I once read a sci-fi novel of an AI created by humanity that took care of its scientist creator. They put him in suspended animation, and once humans had gone extinct, it created a whole new planet and genetically engineered a civilization. This happened over a few billion years. Eventually they woke him up and dropped him at a beach bar. These aliens were similar to humans but green. Imagine what a trip that would be. Modern humans, according to the fossil record, have only existed for about 200,000 years. We have only been organized into civilization for about 10,000, unless there was a pre-ice age civilization that was destroyed, as some have argued. Even then, maybe 50,000. A billion years is just silly. The Cambrian explosion was only 500 million years ago. Existing on geologic timescales is pretty well beyond an individual human's comprehension.
Go for a walk. Adopt a civilization or two. Watch the humans go almost extinct from their own stupidity. Maybe paint the spare bedroom. Average estimate is 10.000 times of painting gives you plus or minus 1 meter of paint on the walls. Let's say the average bedroom size is 4 times 4 meters, that leaves you with plus or minus 20.000 coats of paint before one paint wall touches the other side of the room. If you paint all 4 walls every time, you can comfortably fill 50 rooms to the brim with paint on all 4 sides.
Read a book, maybe a jigsaw puzzle or two.
Don't think humans can perceive that amount of time. Probably after like 1000 ID be completely insane. In Doctor Who he accidentally made an immortal. She basically was like that, forgetting things as time went on. She kept journals that eventually became an entire library, thinking about how much about the last 40 years of my life I can remember. It's a lot of bits with a thread of continuity. I can't remember every day of kindergarten and first grade, but I know that's when I learned to read and write, which I still can do. I remember when my son was born, but not every day of his first year of life, though I'm certain I held him every day. Once I watched the Prince of Persia movie and realized about 3/4 through that I had watched it before and completely forgotten about it. I had a vague sense of what was going to happen, and a dim memory that I watched it sometime, but I could not remember the movie. If I lived a billion years, I'd probably be able to hold about 500 to 1000 years back in distinct memories at a time, maybe some core memories for longer, though they'd become like a copy of a copy of a copy of a, and I'd probably be able to maintain a thread of continuity for about twice as long, maybe longer if I started a project that would take 1,000,000 years to complete.
Rewatch The Man from Earth and take some notes for starters.
1 billion years is an almost unfathomable time for a human to understand. If you were to be 1 billion today, happy birthday, you would be sitting around waiting for 500 million years for the first critters to crawl out of the ocean and 700 million years for the precursors to the dinosaurs. All of human history is only around 200,000. 1 billion years from now, you probably want to be finding a way off this rock, as the sun will have boiled the ocean away. So plan accordingly, but you have a little time.
This is it. You have the option to start planning on galactic timescales. Generations will come and go. Nations will rise and fall. You will observe the results of evolution slowly taking place. Continental drift will be noticeable. Earth becoming uninhabitable for human or natural reasons is a real risk you'll have to consider. Your own physical and mental health will be very precious and very fragile things you'll have to preserve to last for over 10 million lifetimes. It's a massive challenge.
For real, my first thought to this question was try to find out if I can die from any means possible. At least now I know I'll probably die in 40 to 45 years or so I can at least enjoy the good times as they present themselves. A billion years just sounds exhausting.
I would probably spend the first few centuries doing all the things that I otherwise wouldn't have enough time for in a normal lifespan. But I'll probably get tired of living after 1,000 years. That's already an incomprehensibly long time for the human mind, let alone a billion years. Spend the first bit of it figuring out how to extend my life even further. Better to have it and not need it, right? But in all seriousness, humans can scarcely conceptualize what a billion even is, let alone put it into the frame of years lived. I'd probably live a pretty normal life for the first 100 or two, but after that all bets are off.
Yep, you would only keep the same mind frame for 100 to 150 years tops. When you look around and everyone you grew up with is gone, and you're still kicking like you're 18, that would definitely change someone's perspective.
Probably the first couple times at least. From there you'll either become a bitter and jaded person or learn to accept it and enjoy it as much as you can. Keep in mind you'll get to be there as all of your generations of kids live their lives. Finish my Steam and GOG library.
Maybe work long enough to actually buy a house where I live. Can enjoy the last 5 years of my existence in it.
Do I stay without health problems? If so, I am gonna be an expert on basically everything.
Adopting and taking care of stray animals, dogs and cats.
Still wait for Half-Life 3 to come out.
Save $1 a year.
You could live anywhere because you'd have the knowledge to survive in the wild. I imagine everything would be extremely boring and mundane after the first 1,000 years. You'd know all there is to know and have read every book. You'd be wise, hell you could probably convince people you were some sort of deity, but it wouldn't bring any joy because it would be like being in charge of idiots for an afternoon only for them to breed other idiots in their place. We can't fathom it, but maybe you could invent things and advance technology with all the wisdom and academics you'd have learned. Then you could at least leave Earth and travel the universe. But even that act would be very lonesome. Everyone you liked or loved would just die and time perception would go awry.
It would be a curse. I would probably go mad after a few 100 or 1,000 years. Everything that meant anything to me would be long gone. Then maybe whatever sane part that was left of me would start worrying about the future. In 600 million years the sun will grow intense enough to alter the carbonate-silicate cycle and Earth's CO2 level will drop low enough to stop photosynthesis to work. This is the beginning of the end of Earth supporting multicellular life. Now I got 400 million years of sitting on a dead rock under intense sunlight waiting for the planet to burn to a crisp by an ever hotter sun.
Bide my time, learning and observing, for the next 28,000 years. During which I accumulate vast knowledge of military, philosophy, theology, and the arcane. Then, around the year 30,000, when the world is but a barren husk run amok with feudal warlord techno-barbarians, emerge as a great leader at the head of a vast force of genetically modified super soldiers who unify the planet under one atheist rule. During this time I begin a new program, creating 2019-18 suns through super science and pulling from the essence of the unreal, who are then lost to me and scattered amongst the cosmos. I embark on a vast campaign amongst the stars, both to find my lost sons and unify the vestiges of humanity lost during a great calamity that began in the 25th millennia and ended in around the time I emerged as the dominant force on Earth. Near the end of my great crusade, one of my sons will fall to ruinous powers and rebel against me, taking half of my progeny with him, and begin a great war that will almost spell doom for humanity. We will meet for a final clash aboard his flagship above Earth, and I will slay him with my last breaths. Unfortunately for me, this will not be my end, and I will be interred upon a great golden throne and kept alive through the death of thousands of psychically gifted sacrifices in constant agony as humanity clings to the great society I created, only for it to crumble into a theocratic fascist dystopia as enemies close around them.
After living my life with lots of sex and getting rich, I retire within few years and go to Himalayas to meditate and become a monk for the rest of the years.
Work then travel then chill then repeat.
Sleep comfortably since time is no longer an object and I don't need to sacrifice it to squeeze out every hour of free time I can out of each day.
Die as immortality is a curse after a while, so who would want to live 1 billion years and watch everyone else grow old and experience life while you're stuck at 500 million years old and stuck in old ways and saying, back in my day we used to draw paintings on caves and sacrifice people to the gods.
probably learn every language, master a bunch of random skills, travel to every corner of the earth, maybe even become an expert at something weird like cheesemaking or underwater basket weaving. And just watch how everything changes over time.
I would try to be the leader of every single country on the planet for some period of time, so then perhaps I can get at understanding why so many humans hate each other and maybe come up with a solution to make everybody play nice.
Stop being scared of death and failure. So for the next 20 or so years, that would definitely improve my life.
Genocide a few millions, then go away for 1,000 years, give them time to believe I'm dead, maybe I was but a legend, then come back and really lie it on them, then I don't know, maybe a vegetable garden.
Prepare for about 30k years, then create an army of super soldiers led by 20 demigod sons to go on a great crusade, then get betrayed by about half then demigod sons and end up as a battery on a throne in constant agony but become a god in the process.
Use the first 1,000 years to create obscene, gross amounts of wealth. Use the wealth and influence and spend the next thousands creating a utopian society with no health disparities or war, etc., etc. Spend a few more thousand uniting Earth, replicate throughout the universe with the rest. If you were going to live for 1 billion years, you might as well change the entire course of human society and evolution.
The compound interest would get out of hand. You could single-handedly own every company in existence that trades public and private. You would literally own the world.
Finally get my backlog of games done, play everything on Game Pass, have the best achievement score ever, since I haven't had a date in 14 years, guessing with me living a billion years, that would be like 14,000 years without a date.
If I don't kill myself early, I'd probably keep repeating the same things after a while. I am not even 30 and I've watched movies, only to realize at the end that I'd already seen them. Even with the best human memory in the world, I'd forget everything after about 100 years. Wonder if as you get older the years fly by. A summer in my 30s is so much quicker than when I was a kid. Can imagine it being like a literal blink of an eye, aged 250 million.
Hope I don't get locked up for doing something stupid and have to spend that billion years in a cell. But for realsies, if I was going to live that long, I would need some other guarantees as well. Like being young, strong, and able-bodied. Age 24 sounds a good age to stay at the level of for 99.9% of the billion years, be invincible until the end of the billion years, or at the least able to not get sick and heal any injury super fast like Wolverine, and lastly, be able to remember everything, access those memories without fail or corruption in my memory, and also have unlimited capacity to learn and remember. At that point I would do the only thing you could do, and that would be experience everything you possibly can. Travel the world, learn as much as you can about every culture, learn to speak every language, make love to many women around the world, learn to dance and play every musical instrument, work on building some amazing things with all the knowledge you've acquired, solve some mysteries of the world, cure diseases for people so that some others will be able to join you for that billion years. There would be so many amazing things to do and so many amazing people to meet. It would be pretty awesome, but only because of the other guarantees I stated above. Without that it would be pretty fun initially but become pretty miserable pretty quickly, relatively speaking. I suppose there is some moral or something of value to be learned here. Like make the best of the time you have and live life to the fullest, as time here is short. But I don't know. It was at least fun to think of all the cool what ifs though, and how neat it would be to experience life from that different perspective. So there's that.
He will spend hundreds of years traveling the world, learning all there is to know. He will learn every language. He will read every book. He will know every land. He will spend thousands of years creating stunning works of art. He will learn to meditate to control all pain. As wars will be fought and great loves found, and lost, and found. Lost, and found. And found. And found. And memories built upon memories until life runs on an endless loop. He will father hundreds of thousands of children whose own exponential offspring he'll slowly lose track of through the years, whose millions of beautiful lives will all eventually be swept again from the earth. And still, Bill will continue. He will learn more about life than any being in history, but death will forever be a stranger to him. People will come and go until names lose all meaning, until people lose all meaning and vanish entirely from the world. And still, Bill will live on. He will befriend the next inhabitants of the earth, beings of light who revere him as a god. And Bill will outlive them all, for millions and millions of years. Exploring, learning, living, until the earth is swallowed beneath his feet. Until the sun is long since gone. Until time loses all meaning and the moment comes that he knows only the positions of the stars and sees them whether his eyes are closed or open. Until he forgets his name and the place where he'd once come from. He lives and he lives until all of the lights go out.
Sleep a lot and have hobbies like making canyons and other geographic features. Do stupid shit like scraping a stone block with a spoon once every year. Write history books that are 100% accurate but are dismissed as nonsense. Same goes with geology, or any science that studies the planet or solar system that I inhabit. Collect obscure things, roam the earth looking for the perfect pebble, play the lottery. I mean, I'm bound to win eventually, wander around stacking stones to mystify future people, make a killing by preserving tech, books, media, whatnot during every dark age, loot fallen civilizations when they fall, selectively breed animals to become the next sapient race. Glacier racing, generally fuck about to keep myself entertained, figure out how to survive when this world becomes uninhabitable, keep a journal on some eternal surface because I'm bound to forget a lot of shit. Use it to write fiction involving older sections. I mean, you can't make some shit up, keep a secret lab where I develop my own advanced tech. I could keep going.
A billion years? Everything. Literally everything. You have functionally infinite amounts of time, it's a billion years. That's from the first multicellular creatures to now. It's a quarter of the lifespan of our goddamn planet. If you scale that lifespan to the average human lifespan, all of humanity's history, up to the very first humans is the equivalent of 5 days. There's nothing, provided it's somewhat interesting, that you can imagine today that you couldn't do in that time span, and I'd also do nothing because it wouldn't matter. I could spend 100 years painting the perfect piece of art. A combination of canvas, oil, pigment, and sheer human expression arranged perfectly so that anyone looking at it would weep. And not a dramatic single tear. I'm talking ugly crying, and then I'd blink and that painting would be dust, the civilization it spoke to ground to dust, the ideals it exemplified obsolete, and everyone who had ever seen it dead for dozens of years. A billion years is an insane amount of time. So much time that it renders most things you can do in a vaguely human timescale entirely meaningless. You could make things at the speed of regular mortals, but all of that would slip through your fingers as far as you could make it. And anything you could do in your own timescale would have meaning only to you. Sure, you could build a piece of art that can be appreciated by a being that lives as long as you do. But why would you? It's just you, and the crushing loneliness of eternity. Well, near eternity. Which is probably worse in some ways. Knowing that you have almost forever, but not quite forever.
Okay, but do I still age? Will I be some kind of mutated, cancer-riddled raisin with no strength left in me, forced to just endure? Or am I like permanently at the age of 25 or something like that? BC if it's the latter and I don't die, or age until I reach 1 billion, then I'm gonna do everything I can, experience everything, then learn as much as I can, try out different lifestyles, different everything. Then act as a very bored historian/researcher for the next 999 whatever million years. Well, if we go back 1 billion years ago on Earth, there wasn't even complex life or a breathable oxygen atmosphere. I don't think science even has prediction models for 1 billion years in the future. Like you wouldn't be able to live as you currently are, and also have likely gone insane. I'll give like vampires or immortals from like ancient Egypt or Rome walking around 21st century Earth no real problem. He'll maybe even fitting in the year 6000. But 1 million? Not a chance. You would obviously be a caveman to whatever human evolution happens.
Probably forget literally everything about the present day long before my time is up. Can a billion years worth of memories even fit inside your skull? Probably not. A billion years is more than enough time for every single species you've ever heard of to go extinct. The world will be populated entirely by creatures that don't exist today. For all intents and purposes, it would be an alien planet. Even the day and month would be different, plus all the continents, and the sun would be just about getting bright enough to start killing off the entire ecosystem. I'd get to see if humanity ever makes it off the planet or not. That would be cool.
Thank you all for watching. If you are interested, subscribe and watch other videos.